What's good, everybody? It's Steven. I'm back with another video today. We're going to be doing the top 5 teams of the week, and this is a very fickle list. Everybody knows that from week to week, it changes from 1 to 5, even from people in the 1 to 5 getting kicked out. Jumping in really quick, I just want to give an honorable mention to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns just beat the San Francisco 49ers. They've only allowed 1,000 yards of total offense so far. That's 500 yards less than the next team up. Only averaging 120 yards passing a game, they've only allowed 600 yards passing this season. If they're able to find some way to actually make their offense serviceable with Deshaun Watson coming back, unfortunately with Nick Chubb out for the season, it doesn't look like that's going to be possible. But if Deshaun Watson can even be somewhat of what he was on the Houston Texans, then the Cleveland Browns are actually really fucking dangerous. To start the list, coming in at number 5, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have been struggling to the Chiefs standards, but as we all know, the Chiefs are most likely going to go ahead and pick it up towards the ending of the season. It's their star players that really have to do it for them, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Can they hold on and really keep it going for the whole entire season and win the championship? That is something that I really do not believe. Even in those struggles, they're still 5-1. They had a couple games that were iffy, and they lost to the Detroit Lions without Travis Kelce in week 1. The Chiefs are top 5 in passing yards and passing TDs, but they're also number 2 in interceptions. They have 7 to the Raiders' 9, who have also been struggling really bad this season. And even to be comparable to them, that's pretty bad. They're even just outside top 10 in rushing yards, 3 yards behind the Atlanta Falcons. And they have a pretty good running attack with Algier and Bijan Robinson. It's up to you, Pat and Travis. If you guys do not get it done, then the Chiefs are going to be getting a short season, at least compared to all the other seasons, because it seems like they've been going to the AFC Championship since Patrick Mahomes had any type of weapons, which is from day 1. Moving in at number 4, we have the nicest story in the league. Right behind the Miami Dolphins, we have the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions right now are playing really well behind Dan Campbell. Jared Goff is looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. He's 3rd in passer rating, 4th in QBR, 5th in passing yards, and 5th in passing yards per game. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been one of the most dominant receivers in the game, being one of their only weapons on offense and still being top 15 in yards. Just because the defense is able to single out on him, that makes that a big deal. Who on that offense as a receiver are you really looking out for? You got Reynolds, you got some other people out there, but the Lions wide receivers have really been struggling besides Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's a long ass name, and I sometimes fuck it up, but I like it. Along with him on offense, they have the 2 running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't been getting the ball that much. He is averaging 6 yards per carry, and he's dealing with injuries right now, and so is David Montgomery. But quietly, David Montgomery has been having a better season as a running back since he kind of has his whole entire career. Right now, he has 6 touchdowns. And their defense is playing really well as well, with Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive line, causing turnovers, getting pressure to the QB, and just throwing them off their game and disrupting everything they want to do game plan-wise. Moving on to number 3, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles do seem to be playing down to their opponents, but once they play against a good opponent, I am pretty damn sure that they're going to run the football down their throat. Yes, throwing the ball 40+ times for Jalen Hurts last game is not a recipe for success. Only giving your max ball carrier 10 carries in the game is not a recipe for success, but let's go ahead and give some credit to their opponent. The New York Jets did give them good defensive plays and stop them from running the ball, so I guess they kind of just shut that down and made them not even want to call the plays. But we all know that the Eagles offense runs through their running game. Jalen Hurts is better as a system quarterback. Right now, he's 7 touchdowns for 7 interceptions. Your wide receivers are playing well, and your running backs are playing really well as well. But those turnovers are really bad. And the problem is when you keep on putting the ball in his hands and depend on him to keep you in great situations throughout the game, he seems to be putting you in bad situations. And you seem to be in games that you shouldn't even be in with bad teams, because you should be wiping the floor with them. Your receiver, A.J. Brown, is 2nd in receiving yards and tied for 5th in receptions, while the Eagles defense is top 5 in sacks and top 15s in tackle for loss. But if you really look at it, there's only like 1 or 2 tackles for losses that are really keeping them from being top 5 or top 10. I'm confident that they're going to get back on track and actually have the type of offense that they did last season. But in doing that, you do have to keep the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands. At least don't make him the main focal point of your offense. Jalen Hurts was never that. He has shown to be a superstar in the role that you gave him last season, and he put up pretty damn good numbers. I like Jalen Hurts last season better than this season. Still a top 3 team in the league though, and they're going to win their division and most likely be playing in the NFC Championship. Versus this team, number 2, the San Francisco 49ers, and what can I say? Besides last week versus the Cleveland Browns, they are amazing. Unstoppable. Christian McCaffrey was injured last game. Deebo Samuel got hurt, and Brock Purdy looked fucking awful. But does that mean it's time to panic? No. Because they still have everything they need. A great defensive line, a superstar linebacker, some pretty damn good players in the secondary, a quarterback that's able to manage the game, a running back that's able to get you a touchdown a game, basically be undefeated in the regular season since you got him, some damn good receivers and a blocking tight end. The team is set. They have a good coach as well. The San Francisco 49ers are top 15 in passing yards, 3rd in rushing yards, and 2nd in rushing TDs, only behind the Miami Dolphins. Brock Purdy is playing pretty damn good besides last game. He's 2nd in QBR, and he has more yards than quarterbacks like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. The defense doesn't scream wild numbers like tackles for loss or sacks or anything like that, but we all know they're freaking stout enough to stop teams and kill other teams, especially with the fact that their offense being so lethal. They've killed some of the best teams in the league, such as the Dallas Cowboys. But them dropping from number 1 to number 2 in my list and everybody else's list basically every week has to do with the fact that they lost to the Cleveland Browns without a starting quarterback. But moving those teams out of the way, we got the Miami Dolphins at number 1 because we have the most lethal offense I have ever seen in my life. Tua Tagovailoa is playing like the MVP. Tyreek Hill is playing like the Offensive Player of the Year, even possibly the MVP. We are top 3 in sacks. We're top 3 in tackles for loss. We have a running back that's leading the league in touchdowns. We have 2 running backs that are top 10 in yards. We have a running back that has only played 2 to 3 games. I'm not 100% sure right now. I'm just going off the dome. And he is still top 3 in yards per game, only behind Christian McCaffrey and Zach Moss, Devon A-Chain. We're number 1 in every single offensive stat in the league. Tyreek Hill is number 1 in yards, and he's leading all receivers, and he's leading the number 2 receiver by 100 yards. We're tied for first for 20-plus yard plays with Arizona, and we're number 1 for 40-plus yard plays. The Miami Dolphins are the best team in the NFL, and you're a fool if you think otherwise. This is easy. Next week, we're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, the number 3 team. That is going to be the game of the week if you ask me. Can we stop their run? Can they stop our passing game? Is their defense going to step up? Is our defense going to step up? Is Jalen and Tua going to be the answers to both teams' problems at this time? Let's go ahead and see. I appreciate everybody for checking it out. Thank you for checking out my list. Love y'all. I'm out.